Howdy ho, howdy ho, guys. Welcome to another installment of my channel. My name is Tanambanga, and today we have a special guest. And today we're going to be doing part 2 of our culture shock in the United Kingdom. But before we do that, check out our cool hoodies. All right, University of NLS. You can get this on my store. I have a small business on Etsy, so I'll just drop the link on the description. We have hoodies, we have beanies, we have phone cases, we've got everything. So if you'd like to buy on my store and support me, just please click on the link and you'll find everything there. All right.
Okay. All right. So what is it? Is it University of North London? Student University.
It's University of Nanslesa.
Okay, because I was just
North London.
Because I was just joking with him earlier, saying that like people from the UK are gonna be like, okay, University of NLS. It's like, okay, probably like North London, something like that. So, but anyways.
All right. Okay. Before we start, could you please tell the viewers who are you and where are you from and what are you doing on my channel? And yeah.
Okay, so hello guys. I feel like I've been on this on his YouTube for some time, but I never really introduced myself and I said who I am. But basically, kamalam go Achuma fihla. I'm from South Africa, South African as well. Eastern Cape side, King Williamstown, Dimbaza side. So yeah, like basically, why am I on his channel? Well, number one, he came to visit me in the UK because I moved from South Africa to the UK to work here. So I'm on his channel today to sort of like supplement and sort of add more knowledge as someone that's lived in the UK for about 2.5 years now. So to just add a bit of insight on my experience of living in the UK, basically compared to South Africa, because I kind of have like a longer time period, so I have probably a lot more to add to the issue or the story or whatever. But yeah, so I am Sia's girlfriend as well. So yeah, so we've been together for about, what is it, two years and
3 months.
2 years 3 months.
It's true now, yeah.
So he's better at the math, but 2 years 3 months. So yeah, guys, like, hi.
Okay, so if you guys have watched part 1, basically I spoke about the housing system, the food, the transport system, etc. But now with Achuma as our guest today, we'll start off by just you letting us know how was your first experience coming in here.
So at the moment I live in Liverpool, right? But before then, like I've only lived here in Liverpool for about 6 to 9 months now, because I arrived last year in October. But prior to that, I was living in Hereford. Hereford is like, I can compare it to King Williamstown, because it's very, very small. Like you walk everywhere. So here, basically, right, I would classify it as a town, because like in King, like we classify it as a town. But here in the UK, if a place has a cathedral, then it's classified as a city. So basically, I lived in the city of Hereford, even though it looks like a town. I'll probably put a picture of like what Hereford looks like in the town and whatnot, so you can also get an idea why I say that. So basically, now when I moved to the UK, I was like, I want to live in a smaller town, right? First of all, like I wanted everything like a stone thrown away, like work, shops, train station, department. I just wanted I wanted a modest introduction to the UK. I didn't want to be in a big city, have to figure out the transport system, have to figure out like how to get from A to B. I just wanted everything literally at my doorstep. So that's exactly what I got, which was Hereford. Not many people willingly move there, but I actually was very, very happy there. And yeah, like, so Hereford is anabanda banje. Yeah, so and if you are there in Hereford, people most probably knew that you're coming to work for the NHS. So So yeah, basically like everyone will be like, are you a nurse? Are you a nurse? And I'm like, so also I'm not a nurse, guys. Look, I work as an audiologist. I'm classified as an audiologist. So basically an audiologist is responsible for hearing care, ear care for patients. There's different specialties in it as well. It can go into vestibular, cochlear implants, pediatrics, all sorts. So it's a vast industry. But in any case, so yeah, like they were not used to a lot of black people, but at the same time it's like it's not that thing of like we're not used to black people, so we're gonna be discriminative and racist towards you. It was more of like, oh wow, like it's like a genuine interest in who you are, where you're from, interest in the culture, interest in the politics of South Africa. Suddenly when I arrived in Hereford, I was like the political spokesperson of SA because everyone was asking things about South Africa, related to South Africa with me. And then after 2 years or so, it was nice. I had friends, got a church community there as well. But after 2 years, I felt very stagnant. I felt like I'm still young and I need to live in a bigger city. I've always lived in a small city all my life. I grew up in a small city, did my high school in a small city, did my uni in a big city like Cape Town, but I moved back to a small city again when I started working, even when I was working in South Africa. So I was like, I just need the experience of being in a bigger city. So now I am here in Liverpool. And Liverpool is lovely. Like, it's big.
Which city would you compare Liverpool to in terms of South Africa?
I don't know. I feel like Liverpool is very unique, like how it is, right? Like, I don't know. You mentioned that you'd compare it to
PE.
to
Port
be-
Elizabeth.
Why?
Because it's got the beach, but well, that's a
Just because it has a beach.
That's another story. And people here are friendly.
Okay.
It's quite windy as well,
Not all the time.
but sometimes.
Now today it's windy, but
So yeah, those are the characteristics that I thought that maybe could be possibly be the same as PE, because PE is, like, I've lived in Port Elizabeth like for a while, and it just gave me that vibe. And people here are friendly. It's very nice. It's beautiful. It's got like nice historical buildings as well, just like in Port Elizabeth. So yeah.
I guess in that respect, like I just haven't lived in a city in South Africa that I compare it to Liverpool. Like you saw similarities between PE and Liverpool. I've never lived in PE. I've only visited PE, so I don't know much about it. But in the cities I've lived in, I mean, I've lived in Cape Town, worked in Queenstown, lived all my life in King Williamstown, Dimbaza, East London. Like none of those places,
Eastern
like
Cape Gal.
yeah, like I can't compare it to Joburg either, because I feel like I can compare somewhere. I can compare London to Joburg, but not Liverpool. So for me, it's a unique city and a unique experience to me. So yeah, I kind of get it.
Then, with that being said, what do you have in store for us?
What do I have in store for you? Nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
What do you mean? What do I
You
mean?
need to tell us your culture shock.
My culture shock.
Okay, first tell us the culture shock between Hereford and Liverpool. We'll start there. And then after that, you could just tell us your culture shock as a whole in the United Kingdom.
Oh, okay. So, Hereford. Okay, I can just say, first of all, the similarities is that it's just a small town.
Okay.
Like, I can compare it to King Williamstown, Hereford. Lots of old people there. I've never been in a city with a lot of old people, but I guess it's like I can compare it to old George No Nice, where people go and retire, like that people, because there's a lot of beautiful countryside. So what I can say is that I've never really been used to the countryside like that. Like we live like Ekaya Sinai farm, but like it's not like a farm like they have like here. Like they have like farms, like industrial farms. They have protected lands. Yeah, a lot of landscape, a lot of like, I don't know, man. You're gonna go somewhere, or whatever, and you use the botanical route, and you see a lot of these like farmlands. Some farmers like, and you see how beautiful they are. Like here they have it in like a lot. like a lot. They have it a lot. What else can I say? Like, what's my culture shock? Oh, my culture shock actually in Hereford. One thing that it's funny is when I was, so you know, most in South Africa we like peace sign, outies.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah. It's a swear word. Leo, up your arse. Like, you're like, yamtuka. So, you know, I'm sorry, I don't know if this is gonna demonetize you or something, man, is it?
No.
But you put a little hash thingy on there. But so how this happened is that I was speaking to my manager, and like, so obviously game was like that chai so I'm gonna go home now, like it's been end of the day, I'm tired. And like my manager is like, he's very lighthearted, like he was very lighthearted because when I lived in Hereford, and yeah, I would make jokes up with each other, so I'm going home now, so I'm like, yeah, peace out. What? You shouldn't do that. And I'm like, why? He's like, no, it's actually like up your ass. So in my mind, I'm like, huh? Like, because of his nature, a joker cool again. Like I was like he's probably pulling a fast one on me. Like we went on Google. He went on Google. I was like, look, like it's actually swearing. So I was like,
I remember you also telling me when we went to go watch the match.
Yes, and
I
like,
actually saw it. I was like,
yeah, and when we went to watch the Manchester game, this was like, yeah, it's serious.
Crazy.
So now it took me back to when I was like on Sunday at church. I'll be literally like, peace out everyone, kanti so it was a running joke again, good department that I was like people at church like after I leave. So that's the first culture shock, because I was like, yo, like I'm offending people, like I didn't realize that's offensive. Second culture shock is the food. It was terrible. Like, you know, almost like when you've had a long day and you're like, yo, don't want to pack, and then okay man, take it bye. Okay, man, they got Nando's. Actually, Nando's wasn't a disappointment. It was the other places that were a disappointment. Or like I go and buy chicken curry or whatever. Like Ipai, for instance, was just very bland. Like you can tell they just use salt and pepper.
Yeah.
Like they don't use the seasoning, man, like a UK. And I remember when I moved from South Africa to Hereford, people were like,
don't you want to take spices? Like my family, my sisters are like, don't you want to take spices? I'm
like, no, like I like that today. Some of the spices are
God.
I regretted it. Like I proper regretted it. So yeah, luckily I had a friend that was gonna come and visit in London. London actually, and I asked her to bring me some spices from back home. So those were my saving grace. So yeah, the food like isn't too great. KFC is not the same as well. I'm sure Sia has mentioned that here by Fanny, but over time you kind of adjust. You really do adjust to ipalette yalapha. What else? Like, what can I say? It's not too big. I think also it's because I expected it to be different. So like, I don't know. Like, it's just different. The language is different. I think I also realized that with every region in England, people just speak different.
Yeah.
They have their own different dialects and stuff like that. So there's the Hereford twang, there's the Liverpudlian or Scouse accent, there's the Manny accent, which is Manchester. London has many different types of accents.
Quite posh.
Yeah. What else?
Okay, so you've spoken about the whole Hereford experience, and now since you're in Liverpool, could you tell us how has been like your Liverpool culture and the 9 months you've been here?
Yeah, Liverpool is nice. First of all, I wanted to move to Manchester firstly, right? And when I was doing my interviews, I got offered a job in Liverpool first before I could even do my interviews for Manchester. Because I had 2 interviews for Manchester, but I was like, let me just go for Liverpool, because I can't just reject Liverpool for the chance of possibly getting Manchester. But actually now that retrospectively, I realized that it's actually the best decision I made, because number one, cost of living in Liverpool is a lot more affordable than Manchester, because in Manchester is really catching up to London in terms of cost of living, housing,
Nightlife.
Like Manchester is beautiful. There's lots to do, easy transportation, like kuhle, and it makes sense. But now they're catching up to London as well because of the football. It's become very, very popular. It's become very, very popular. So I actually realized retrospectively, like the apartment that I have is not fully furnished, yes guys, like it's a bit bare, but for the place that I got, a 2-bedroom apartment close to town, I could have probably spent like double what I'm spending on rent in Manchester, you know. So that, number one, that's a win in its own. Number two, I was like, okay, what am I not getting from, if I choose Liverpool, what would I not get from Liverpool that I would get from Manchester? And the things that I wanted was, number one, a place that's cheaper. Number two, I wanted a place that's a city. And number three, I wanted a place that's cosmopolitan, that's diverse. So both those cities offered me that, right? So I was like, why not Liverpool? And also they're close to each other. They're only like 30 to 45 minutes train ride away from each other.
Yeah.
So
It's quite close.
yeah, it's quite close. So I was like, nah, actually Liverpool. Like I think the only concern I had was the accent, the Scouse accent. I think so, yeah. So yeah,
No,
please
I won't try it this time, guys.
don't try it,
no, I
but
won't try it.
I'll actually make sure he posts a clip of the accent so you can hear it. Like
Europa League final, my last game for the club. He brought me on with 30 seconds to go.
Parents' money, though, you must have.
No, well, then you start thinking about JT lifting the trophy. You know?
I won't try it again.
But
no,
yeah, so I was worried that I may not be able to hear the people talking and how they talk. So I was like, yo guys, but highway, it is what it is. So I phoned, you know, because they used to make jokes at Hereford. They're like, yo, are you gonna attend a night school for Scouse accent? Because in Zimbabwe. And then actually when I got here, because I live in the city center region, it's very diverse, and the Scouse accent is very like, it's sort of like it's not as thick as if maybe I would move like to certain areas. I don't know where it's actually thick in, like which region. Probably. But also I realized that Aban Balapa, they code switch, because if they can tell by you're not Scouse or you're not Liverpudlian, like they tend to sort of like mellow down their accents so they can hear them a bit better, which is great. And then when they talk to Aban Babo, they switch just like that. Suddenly you can't even hear what they're saying. So I had an incident like that with a patient whereby he spoke to me properly and then he switched to his friend and he started speaking Scouse and I couldn't hear a word he was saying. Similar to Afrikaans, actually. If you were to, like, it's loud because they have the bach, the there, a lot of that there. But even in the way that they talk, it's similar. They have those similar clicks to Afrikaans, which I find quite nice. Like, I think it's, a lot of people don't like his Scouse accent, the roast of England, like literally look down on Liverpool.
I don't understand why.
Yeah, but I think it's a very charming city. People here are down to earth. Like, I think they know the struggle. Like, similar to Irish people. Irish people have been through a lot. Like, similar to us South Africans with apartheid. Like, Irish people have been through a lot. Liverpudlian people have been through a lot. So they know how it feels like to be discriminated against, how to be so they really treat each other with respect, you know, and doesn't matter where you're from, what your background is, where you come from. Like, they really are kind and loving people. Yeah.
And you made friends. You've made a community, actually.
Well, it's always easy to, because my trick is to just go to church. Whenever I move to somewhere different, I just attend a church, and that's how I develop friendships, because I find it the easiest to develop friendships.
Yeah. Okay, so you've covered now Hereford, you've covered Liverpool. Now I want you to just go like in broader detail of your culture shock in the United Kingdom.
Okay. So let me just check. I think I wrote
You even bought a book.
I wrote like, well, I'm not gonna remember everything.
Alright.
Okay, so basically, my culture shock. Let's start about the people. Basically, like, I'm sure you've experienced as well in terms of like how the people are, how their sense of humor is. So
Yeah.
it's a bit different here because abantu balapha, like they really tease. They tease you. They mock like as a sense of just like. But then, like, if you're not used to abantu balapha, you're not used to the culture here, you think ba uyagezelwa. But in actuality, it's just like, yeah, it's just joking around. Like, bayakutsala, basically. So people mock themselves, they mock other people, they mock their friends. In some other cultures, like the sort of like the barish like culture, they tend to give each other nicknames based on who you are, like what you look like, what you sound like. So you'd really think that you're being like uyagezelwa, or you're being offended, or you're being discriminated against, but it's actually very, very lighthearted. Like they're really just how they are. That's how they are. Another thing is the food. So mostly normal chips, fish and chips.
People will think that we're obsessed with food because we're always talking about food.
I am obsessed with food. Like, I'll admit that. I love food. Mina, that's shame.
She definitely does.
So, like, if we're in a gym, that's what would have happened. But anyways, the fish and chips here. Also, like, why wouldn't you have fish and chips where it's originally from? Like, it's the culture as well. So here in Liverpool, it was my first time having chips and curry. So they put a curry sauce on the chips. So for the longest time, I was like, ew, like, why would anyone have curry on their chips? Just put salt and vinegar, So I was like, ew. And then I tasted it off my friend. Like, not my friend, actually my colleague. I need to stop calling everyone my friend because now I'm categorizing
My friend
people.
is your friend, your friend is my friend.
Hey, it's not make sure. It's not make sure. It's a full case.
But basically, like, I need to actually stop doing that. But yeah, like, I tasted it off my colleague and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really, really good. So yeah, like, chips and curry is really good here. Like, it's a staple. So yeah, but over the years, fish and chips, fish in particular, has gotten more and more expensive. I think it's also because of like fish farming and all of that stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna go into depth with that. And then the other thing is healthcare, right? So if no one is aware, like, I think most people know this, but we have the NHS, which is the National Health Insurance.
Similar to what our president signed.
NHI bill.
NHI bill, yeah.
Hey, okay. That's what he's trying to implement, okay? Basically something similar to the NHS. So basically, I work for the NHS, and basically we service the people of England, right? So basically, like, the infrastructure I've found, like working in a public hospital here, is similar to working in a private hospital, which is weird because the hospital itself looks like a private hospital. It's well taken care of. Like, like, we have everything that we need. Because I've worked in South Africa. I worked in Queenstown. Like, but also at the same time, like we weren't getting a lot of patients because of the lack of knowledge of what an audiologist does and what they do. You'll find that a lot of people that work in healthcare may not refer to us, or maybe they'll refer privately. Like, audiologists were more so seen in private than in the public system in SA, what I found, right? And I worked in a regional hospital in Queenstown, so I didn't get a lot of patients.
But I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that, because before I met you, like, I didn't even think there was a person called an audiologist.
Exactly. So you're not aware.
I just knew about like your typical doctor.
Yeah, your GP. And then but beyond that, your GP doesn't do everything. They're just your primary care And then from there, if there's something more serious
Specific.
or more specific, they will refer you onto the other like specialties. So yeah, my field is very specialized in that respect. So yeah, like so South Africa, equipment besinganayo diagnostic equipment. Also, some of my peers Puma University were expected to go and start a whole department fresh out of uni, imagine. And you start a whole department, you know, it was crazy. Whereas here, like there's levels, you know, to these things. The book is structure, like things that I was doing in SA, I'm not allowed to do because there's a senior role, you know. Which
Oh
is,
yeah, Nico say by
yeah, but I guess in that respect, like you're more equipped to do more things.
Yeah.
But again, we are cut off because you're not getting paid what you're worth in SA. Whereas here, une-level ethile ukuyo yenza le nto ukula level ukuyo mama uyenze. But anyways, man, let me not dwell too much on the healthcare. But basically, the hospitals look like private hospitals as SA APA. People have a medical aid, which they call health insurance by private, but that's more so that you can be seen quicker. So for instance, I know that I wanted to eat dermatology. And I had a problem with my skin. I think it was in 2022, where like my skin sort of flared up and I just had pimples all over my face. And I was just like, yes, I'm tired. Like I want to see a dermatologist. Do you want to either go to public NHS or can you private? Obviously NHS because it's free. You know, that's another thing. NHS is free. But what there could be a 6 to 9 month waiting list for the NHS.
That's a long time.
It's a very long time. And I wanted to get my issues sorted immediately. So what I did was that I just hunkered down and I just paid for a private healthcare. So what I did is that I paid for the consultation, which was like £200. So it's a lot of money for a dermatologist.
Convert that. A lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's another thing that I miss about South Africa because I have friends that are in the industry that can be like, can't buy prescription. Like, and there's no problem. Here, I was strict to shame. So yeah, so I paid like £200 way too, and then saw a consultant. No, I'm ready to go under to just take that Accutane. So I went under that, and then the rest of my follow-ups were through the NHS. So my consult was just for me to get me ahead of the waiting list and then continue through with the NHS. So it just converted me back to the NHS. And I think it was well worth it for me because I just couldn't wait in 9 months. And it just sped things up for me, and and I'm happy I made that decision. So usually people choose private because of the lack of waiting, but in terms of service delivery,
it's the same.
Service delivery, like bedside manners, like how your clinician treats you. Sometimes if busy clinic, that's on an individual level. Like you can get bad people in private hospital that treat you awfully, and you can get good people in public as well that treat you well. Like I feel like that is more
depends on the person.
Yeah, it's more on the individualistic level rather than a system. Whereas in South Africa, that's more on a system level because of lack of resources, because of lack of human resources. People are under a big workload strain, so especially nurses, and so how they react to that is that bakhuphela umsindo wabo okanye frustration yabo onto the patients and onto their colleagues as well. So yeah, it's that difference. Also in terms of working, there's more flexibility. So for me, how I work, I will still work 37.5 hours per week. But I can choose how to split that up. It's either I work 4 long days or I work 5 normal days. So I decided to work 4 long days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And then I get the Thursday off. Other people may choose to work half days. Other people may choose to work term time. So term time is very popular with abantu abanabantwana because they're on holiday, they want to be home to take care of the kids, you know, and then when they're back at school, they're back at work. But also I think that's also it's also to assist with childcare because childcare is so expensive here. Like you'd rather be sat at home taking care of your own child anyways, rather than having someone else look after them. Go for a whole day. So yeah, there's that.
Stay tuned for the next video coming out soon. Until then, see you later, alligators.